This news program is proudly brought to you by
Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits
and Now Biscuits.
Registrar of Political Parties clarifies deadline extension. Inquiry to ensure process and procedures are in place. And summit in Kundiawa to restore peace and unity. Good evening. You're watching National EMTV News. I'm Rocky Iso. Thank you for joining us. We begin with the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties, and the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties and several political party Secretary Generals have clarified the position of the 91 members of Parliament who are yet to submit their 2022 election returns to the Office of the Registrar. The Acting Registrar of Political Parties, Emmanuel Pock, clarified today in an urgent press conference that deadlines is extended by a month and that no MPs have trespassed the leadership code.
Following the decision made by the acting registrar for the Registry of Political Parties, Emmanuel Pock, in proper consultation with his office, the extension of due dates for election financial returns from last week Friday, the 4th of November, has been extended to the 2nd of December, an extension of 28 days. This is to cater for the factors such as court election petitions and the delay in return of writs.
The Registry of Political Parties by law has that discretion to extend the date for the election returns. So we have exercised that under the organic law.
Mr. Pock explained that this does not mean that the 91 members of Parliament who are yet to submit in their returns have breached Section 88 and 89 of the Organic Law, which calls for the integrity of political parties and members of Parliament or successful candidates to submit their election financial return within 3 months after the fixed date for the return of writs to the Registry of Political Parties.
The breach of leadership code, we haven't reached that stage yet. There's certain steps or stages to go before. That's the last resort, right? After the launch of the returns, the election returns, the Registry of Political Parties under a division called the Funding and Disclosure, they go through the returns. And then when they see that when the Registry of Political Parties is not satisfied with the returns, we give the returns back to the political parties or the members of Parliament to satisfy certain requirements. We list the requirements.
Pock mentioned that they have not reached the final stage of breach as yet. Therefore, no members of Parliament have been referred to the Ombudsman Commission for misconduct of office. Grace Papiali, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, the Acting Registrar of Political Parties, Emmanuel Pock, is now appealing to the members of Parliament, office staff, and the first and second secretaries of the ministers, including staff of political parties, to seek information from their office regarding the 2022 election returns.
Secretaries, second secretaries of members of Parliament, we understand that some members of Parliament are, going back and forth in court, the Court of Disputed Returns. So we want the first secretaries, the second secretaries, the executives of political parties to come to the Registry of Political Parties if they have difficulties submitting their returns and filling out the form, Form 35.
Prime Minister James Marape says the Commission of Inquiry into the 722 million kina sale and purchase of Motokea Wharf in Port Moresby is part of the government's efforts to ensure that processes and procedures that are in place are observed in such major transactions. He also announced that the government had taken steps to enforce recommendations of the previous Commission of Inquiry into the controversial Union Bank of Switzerland loan taken up by former Prime Minister Peter O'Neill. Hearing day number 53 of the Commission of Inquiry into the sale and purchase of the Motukea Wharf was held yesterday in Port Moresby. Prime Minister James Marape attended his affidavit that was filed on Monday, the 8th of November 2022, before the Motukea Commission of Inquiry. Counsel assisting the inquiry Gibson Guerrero then asked the Commission that the affidavit tendered by Prime Minister Marape will now be circulated to those that may want to cross-examine the Prime Minister, and that Mr. Marape return later this month on the 16th of November 2022 before the COI.
We propose that the summons be adjourned to another date when the Prime Minister is available, and then by that time we will then be able to circulate copies to those interested parties. And if it transpires that they do not need to cross-examine the Prime Minister, then we will simply discharge the summons without the need for the Prime Minister to attend on that particular date. But for current purposes, we propose that the summons be simply extended to a date convenient to the Prime Minister. So if the Prime Minister could kindly inform the Commission when would be a suitable date for that purpose to occur, noting that the budget session is also impending as well, Commissioner.
In his response, the Prime Minister revised the date due to duty travel.
Traveling out to Athens to APEC, so maybe 15th of November would be a better date. I respectfully propose. If there is a need for me to be here as a witness in response to other witnesses who may be submitting before the inquiry. But everything that I need to say is wrapped in my affidavit and is submitted before this inquiry.
Following the tendering of his sworn statement, Marape said, and I quote, "The Commission of Inquiry into the Motukea Wharf was established to inquire into and report whether or not any law or constitutional requirements were breached in a negotiation and subsequent approval on the relocation of the Port Moresby Wharf and acquisition of the Motukea Wharf." End quote. According to the Prime Minister, the Commission of Inquiry will reveal individuals and entities who have taken part in the process of selling and purchasing the Motukea Wharf at a value of above 722 million kina. Those implicated, if any, by the Commission of Inquiry will face the full extent of the law, and that includes the Prime Minister. Also included is taking legal action against those implicated in the UBS loan inquiry and seeking restitution for the loss of revenue to the country from institutions like the Union Bank of Switzerland and others. The Prime Minister concluded by stating that these inquiries into suspicious and dubious dealings by high-level government officials and various institutions are important, as the government hopes it will help to improve systems and processes. Yesterday, the people of Sinisina Yongomul district gathered in Kundiawa for the Sinisina Yongomul Summit. The event is the first of its kind to be hosted by local member and Minister for Petroleum and Energy, Kiranga Kua. Minister Kua said the main aim of the summit is to restore peace and bring back unity in the district. Present during the summit was Minister for Internal Security, Peter Chamalili Jr., and Member for Bao, Sepukatemu. Godwin Eki filed this report from Kundiawa.
For the first time, a post-election summit known as the United Sinisina Yongomul was held in the district in the town of Kundiawa. Special guests that arrived to a warm welcome reception at the Kundiawa airport were Peter Chamalili Jr., Minister for Internal Security and Member for Abau, Sepukatemu, and other invited dignitaries that arrived on Tropic Air were met by local MP and Minister for Petroleum and Energy, Kiranga Kua, together with CS and police personnel and a local dancing group. The delegation then convoyed to the Kundiawa High School, where the people of Sinisina Yongomul were addressed by Minister Kua. He added that in order for the district to restore peace, people must respect each other. He said that the district, let alone the whole province, was never like that in the past, and then the province was a peaceful place to live.
Before yet, me look at Molsem, you mean one peaceful country. Me look around lo country, me lo Papua New Guinea. Now me look him, law and order now take control of plenty of lo country, blow you me. Now you may come out lot this election. Now me look in some issues, right? So now me talk, you must move quick. Today you move quick, yeah, you come here. You are in this last sing out. You got wisdom, you got good blood tintin, you got good blood bell. You got understanding, that's why you come. You mean must solve more legal problems, time more legally get. You mean not get wait until all problem you go big plan. Inside the community, inside the village, inside the clan, inside the tribe, inside the district.
Special guest and Minister for Internal Security Peter Chemalili Jr. challenged the locals to let peace into their own district and live by the law. He said that in order for community to move ahead, you have to first of all have peace and unity between families and tribes.
So, suppose you may ask him, you may walk long pine in this peace, or leaders is so in peace because only got peace long bell blong all, now look current leader blah blah walk in petition. So this one bell passing a peace, and now must stop on them you plolgeta.
Alluding to both ministers was member for Abau Sepukatemu, who told the people to take ownership and be responsible. He said Sinesine Yongumul is the only district in the country to hold such a meeting. He said that election-related violence should never exist and people need to take into account the consequences and problems it could bring into homes, families and communities.
The nation needs every citizen of the country to contribute to building the country called Papua New Guinea. You have a special place.
He added that people should work with their leaders and that respect and peace must be amongst all is paramount. Minister Kua said law and order is taking control over the country. He urged that people need to take peace and unity must be restored. As a concerned citizen and leader of the parliament, when troubles come up in a province, it must be solved and is the responsibility of a leader. Minister Kua added that law and order in the community didn't exist before in the district. He said it needs to be fixed so that peace is restored for the safety of the people. He said 2022 elections in the context of Sinesine Yongumul was not a good one. People need freedom of movement, where stones, bows and arrows and tribal wars should be eliminated, and that people must not turn against each other in the district. Now, the United Sinesine Yongumul District Summit is the first of its kind to be hosted here in Chimbu Province in Kundiawa. Now, local member for the district of Sinesine Yongumul, Keringa Kua, who's also the Minister for Petroleum and Energy, is the first parliamentary leader to take ownership of law and order and to restore peace and unity in the district. Godwin Eki, National EMTV News, Kundiawa.
Western Governor Taboy Awiyoto says challenges faced within the province can be fixed if proper approaches are done. He revealed this during the 3rd Provincial Development Forum held at the Daru Island in Sapphire District this week.
Governor Yoto says ongoing issues like limited education facilities, health, roads, water supply and others can be addressed with available resources they have on hand. He says the responsibility lies on individuals to contribute their ideas and re-strategizing development plans can bring changes in rural communities in the province. Upgrading of Rumgena Community Health Worker Training School in Northfly, Kionga Tabubil Highway Road Sealing, including Daru Road Sealing among others, in all 4 districts are some major plans that will be implemented going forward. He thanked all development partners, stakeholders and other relevant partners for being supportive in one way or the other in achieving some plans in the last 5 years.
All the burden that I'm carrying for the province, for you to come and help me to help my people so that I can set the foundation for this province to go forward from where you and I and we live, so that our children's future for the province is secured.
ongoing issues faced in Western Province needs to be addressed. One such issue is the health sector within the province. As you can see, this is Daru General Hospital and its facilities needs improvement. However, the Western Provincial Health Authority has been doing its best to improve its facilities. Due to financial constraint, much work has not been done. Western Governor Taboy Awi Yoto mentioned that these issues will be addressed not only here in Daru, but Balimo and Kiunga going forward. Jim John, National MTV News, Daru.
National MTV News continues after the break. The National Capital District Commission opens a new building and an update on the situation at Gordon's Market. Those stories and more next. You're watching National MTV News. We continue with a new building opening, and the National Capital District Commission has paid the ultimate tribute to former city manager, the late Leslie Alu, by opening a new state-of-the-art building at Tarport 4 Mile in Port Moresby. The 3-level building will serve as the administrative building for one of the core functions of NCDC, the City Works. The facility was built at a cost of around 20 million kina and derives its name from a man who gave 31 years of service to the local municipality and assisted in the development of the nation's capital. A traditional welcome for visitors this morning as dignitaries and family members of the late Leslie Alu gathered for the official opening ceremony.
The Alu building is hereby open.
On stage, the Governor for NCD Powers Parkop, Ravel Frank, the City Manager, Northwest MP Lohia Boy Samuel, Northeast MP John Kaupa, and the Internal Revenue Commissioner Sam Coyne. The City Manager was reminiscent when delivering his speech as he remembered about the past and the present.
I was deeply involved in the planning, managing the construction and delivery of infrastructures throughout the city in the last 10 to 15 years or so. While we started modernizing our city, our good governor challenged us to have an office of our own. So we started building the twin office, which is the City Hall and the City Hall Annex.
The new building complex will house the engineering staff, including the Tarport office staff, and the building is expected to boost morale.
For City Works is to invest in your staff of the commission, to give you all a good working environment, an environment that can motivate and inspire you all to deliver to 100% and beyond.
Governor Powers Parkop also paid tribute to the late Leslie Alu, who gave 31 years of service to nation building in the capital city of Port Moresby.
We can remember him, we can learn from what he has done and achieved, and we can ensure that his memory continues and stays, but more importantly, learn from his experience. He dedicated his life, he committed to the city. He chose one career only. And in making that choice, he made sure that his life, he maximized it to the fullest.
Representing the Alu family was the brother of the late Mr. Alu. Benjamin Alu stated that the family was truly grateful for the naming of the building.
I shouldn't be standing here to talk about what he has achieved or the legacy that he has created. I shouldn't be talking about it here. It should be him here. But I'm proud to come and stand here before everybody here to talk about his achievements.
The Alu building was allocated funds by NCD Governor Powers Parkop to cover the full cost of around 20 million kina, with the National Capital District Commission having no immediate plans for any more office buildings. An update on the main Gordon's Market and parts of the main bus stop was reopened yesterday after it was closed for almost 2 days following a fight that erupted last weekend between the market carriers and vendors outside the market. It is understood the situation has been contained and normalcy has returned. A visit to the Gordon's Market and bus stop at midday today showed business and vending activities are slowly returning to normal.
It is business as usual at the main Gordon's bus stop and market area. Police did put a barricade leading into the entrance of the main Bus 17 bus stop on Monday. However, this has been removed for public and motorist convenience. According to police officers at the Gordon's police station, all public motor vehicles that operate within the vicinity of the city were instructed to temporarily use the Unagi Oval, while buses that run on the outskirts of the city, like Sogeri, 17 Mile, Bomana and Laloki areas, will remain in the main Gordon's bus stop vicinity near the police station. It is understood a fight broke out between the market carriers and the youths that work as wardens around the main bus stop last Saturday night and spilled over to Sunday, resulting in the closure of the market and the barricading of the entrance to the main bus stop. The Gordon's bus stop is the main transit point for school children and families, including the working class, to access transport to parts of the city. It is also the point of entry for those who reside in the outskirts, including parts of the central province that access the area in order to sell their produce. In the meantime, policemen at the Gordon's police station are working closely with volunteer warden youths to maintain peace and normalcy for the general commuters. Lindy Suharupa, National MTV News.
The continuous power outages in various parts of the country has impacted business houses in conducting the daily operations. Farmers and Settlers Association, Inc., representing major employers, exporters, and big agriculture processing companies, raised this concern.
President of the Farmers and Settlers Association, Wilson Thompson, highlighted that PNG is faced with unexplained massive power blackouts running for days, causes plane delays and affect operations of trade facilitation offices issuing export permits, customs clearance, biosecurity clearance. Thompson said water, power, communication and transportation is vital to all organizations, either private or public, and to the general public at large, and such issue must be rectified.
We've got so many power blackouts right around the country, which is very bad for the business and the country. Everyone seems to be having problems with water, power. These are things that we need to run the economy. We need this to run the country. We need power to run the factories. We need power to run the hospitals. We need power to run the schools. We need power to run the banks. So power is very, very important. We can't have continuous blackouts like what we have in East Islands or around the country.
Mr. Thompson highlighted that it is a call of the business houses affected that this continuous disruption to power and water is not healthy for the economy, and urged the agency responsible to look into the matter so to ensure there is productivity and production. Sharon Engnui, National MTV News.
The Central Provincial Government has presented its 2022 revised budget to the Central Provincial Assembly yesterday at the Central Provincial Headquarters in Konedobu. Governor for Central Province Rufina Peter, as the chairperson for Finance, presented the revised budget to the Assembly in the presence of district MPs and local level government presidents.
Central Governor Rufina Peter has announced to the Central Government Provincial Assembly that a total revised budget for the remainder of the 2022 financial year stands at around 193 million kina from the initial approved budget of more than 232 million kina. Governor Peter said the initial approved provincial budget comprises of national grants, internal revenue and rollover from grants and internal revenue. Governor Peter stressed on the importance of the internal revenue, calling on all local MPs and LLG presidents to work towards achieving internal revenue.
Mr. Acting Chairman, in a nutshell, each budget submitted from the LLG level must also be supported by internal revenue generation initiatives. It is about time we start making money.
There are some adjustments made to the revised internal revenue budget, where it saw some increases and decreases in funding. This was debated by the MPs representing each district in the province. However, Governor Peter said the changes on the appropriation of funding is due to the performance of the different sectors.
The reduction in internal revenue appropriation is affected by the non-performance of the existing and new internal revenue sources that are not yet able to achieve the projected budget figures for this year, leading to the current cash flow problems. This trend may affect the framing of the 2023 provincial budget. Thus, prudent adjustments in the internal revenue in the coming years are expected.
Governor Peter said it is in the best interest of a government to maximize the benefits of the limited internal revenue base so that they can be able to support the people in providing vital service that is much needed. Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
And now taking a look at the NASFAR market report. The Kina opened unchanged at 0.2840 in the interbank market this morning. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina was buying 0.2765 US dollars, 0.4225 Australian dollars, 0.2768 euro, and 39.92 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading lower, coffee closed lower, cocoa closed higher, copper closed, palm oil closed lower, crude oil is trading lower, and copper closed lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed higher, the ASX 200 is trading higher, and the All Ordinaries is trading higher. National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to National EMTV News. We continue with more national stories now, and a pretty cool phenomenon, best nicknamed by science and earthlings as the blood moon, occurred last night. According to NASA, this natural event was experienced in North and South America, Asia, Australia, including Papua New Guinea. EMTV News paid a visit to the National Weather Service office today to acquire an insight of this natural event.
When the moon is eclipsed, only the refracted light from the Earth's atmosphere reaches it. A phenomenon known to meteorology as ray wave scattering is the natural process that plays a vital role in lunar eclipse. The green and the blue lights are scattered, but the red wavelengths get filtered out. That is the same reason why the sun appears red during sunrise and sunset. Meteorologist by merit and Assistant Director of Forecasting and Warning, Mr. Benjamin Malai, highlighted the processes involved during the fall of a lunar eclipse.
If there was no atmosphere, you wouldn't have the red blood moon. So what actually happens is you have the rays from the sun passing through the earth in order to reach the moon. But because the moon is so small, it is hidden at the back of the earth. However, having the presence of the atmosphere, there is something we call Rayleigh scattering in the atmosphere. That is where there are particles in the atmosphere. They tend to deflect or scatter rays from the sun, but not all the rays that is being scattered in the atmosphere. It's only to do with different wavelengths, and there is the wavelength with the red light, and that red light is scattered in the atmosphere, reaching at the back of the sun where the moon is placed, and that's why the moon appears red, giving that name, blood moon.
Mr. Malai added that the degree of redness of a fully eclipsed moon can be influenced by atmospheric conditions, while its duration entirely depends on the moon's orbiting patterns in conjunction with the size of the moon.
The Earth is much, much bigger than the sun. Imagine if the sun, the moon was in front of the sun, in front of the Earth. Most of the rays will be passing through the moon, reaching the Earth. That's when you have the solar eclipse, and the duration would be much lesser than the lunar eclipse. lunar eclipse, the moon is placed at the back of the sun in the same plane, and because of the scattering in the atmosphere, you will have only the red light reaching the moon. And given that the Earth is bigger than the moon, the duration will seem to be more longer than the solar eclipse.
The eclipse witnessed last night is the last of the 4 series of 2022 eclipses predicted by science to take place. The next lunar eclipse, as predicted by NASA, will take place on March 14, 2025. Lisa Puni, National EMTV News.
A student from Kwikila Secondary School in Rigos Central Province said an awareness drive by the Constitutional and Law Reform Commission at the school has inspired students in their quest to reach their goals. Brendan Kenop, who is in grade 11, assured the CLRC Secretary Dr. Mange Matui and his officers during their visit to the school last Thursday that what they have said will not go wasted.
Dr. Matui and his staff were at Kwikila Station last week for the week-long customary law recording exercise for Rigo District. They used the opportunity to also bring awareness to the students about CLRC, its roles and responsibilities, and the different types of laws that govern the country, as well as encouraging them about their career aspirations. The team from CLRC also donated various publications on the reviews CLRC has undertaken which can assist the students in their research and studies. Dr. Matui said it was important to impart vital information and create a connection with the students because they are the future of the country. To simplify the work of CLRC to the students, Dr. Matui said CLRC can be likened to an eagle that hovers in the air and looks down on all the laws of the country, and whenever you want to make a change to a law, CLRC will come down and zoom in on what law and can help in reviewing and changing it. Students also interacted with CLRC officers and got answers to their queries from the experts on various areas of law. While thanking Dr. Matui and his officers, Deputy Principal Jacob Fofumu said the visit and donation of books meant a lot to the school and the students, who do not get such opportunities often. Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
The governor for the District 9620 for Rotary Club paid a visit to a few of the sites that the Rotary Club has been supporting in Port Moresby and the Central Province. Tim Keeler, who is in charge of Rotary Clubs in Australia and the rest of the Pacific Island countries, went to visit the Port Moresby Theatre Arts Centre, Bavarocco Primary School, and then the Sogeri School of Excellence and Yarrawari Agro Technical Secondary School and other places.
Rotary Club of Boroko has been doing a lot of donations in specific areas like education, health, water projects, and many more to the needy people in the country. The first visit for Team Killer was to a warehouse where all the Rotary supplies are being kept. The warehouse was offered freely by Supreme Industries to help and make sure the supplies are being kept in order and in good condition for distribution to the needy. Equipment such as wheelchairs, hospital beds, respirators, and many more are kept in there. From there, he visited Port Moresby Theatre Arts Centre, where Rotary Club has helped in doing refurbishment to where the stage is, and also a partner to POM Theatre Arts for some time. Later, the team paid a visit to Bavarocco Primary School, where the Rotary Club will be issuing 40 desks to 2 classrooms on Friday. Later during the day, the team went to Sogeri to visit Sogeri School of Excellence, Yarrawari Agro Technical Secondary School, and also the police station where they have helped in terms of accessing clean water. Killer says he was pleased to visit all the clubs in the country, and he also thanked the Rotarians who worked hard to make a difference in the communities.
We've met new people, we've met new friends, but most importantly, we've met Rotarians. People that want to make a difference in their community. And in making a difference in their community means that they are able to help people that are less fortunate than themselves.
He further explained what the Rotary Club have been doing.
We saw the optimism that these people have. We saw the way in which they are looking to the future. And Rotary is there to help them secure a future, by having clean water, by having good sanitation, by having strong health messages, and of course, helping them with their education. Working with communities to ensure that children have desks to work on, stationery to use, and of course, books and libraries.
His next visit will be in the Highlands region and will head back to Australia. Samantha Solomon, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break with Trukai Sports. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. To boxing, and the Oceania Fight Promotions has commended its sponsors and supporters for their outstanding support during the boxing tournament held on the 30th of October 2022 in Port Moresby as a tribute to the late Ben Micah. This tournament will run as an avenue to promote youths in the boxing space to advance their talent.
Major sponsors of the Oceania Fight Promotions include the Prime Minister and his government, the media, PNG Professional Boxing, and the National Gaming Control Board as the bodies responsible in bringing the event to life. Going forward, the OFP plans to promote up-and-coming boxers and the boxing industry through this tournament. This statement was made by OFP promoter Ms. Marianne Milley in the press release. The release also outlined an upcoming boxing event of OFP, which will be staged on the 18th of December 2022 and will feature 2 overseas male fighters versus one of our local boxers. The main bouts will feature the following: 12 male fighters and 4 female fighters, which totals up to 7 bouts, and 2 international bouts, which will see PNG boxers compete against Australian boxers. OFP is aiming to utilize boxing as a pathway to address cross-cutting issues affecting the country through professional boxing and is calling out to potential sponsors to join this cause. Lisa Puni, Trukai Sports.
And Trukai Sports continues after the break with more sports stories. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
You're watching Trukai Sports. The Rugby League World Cup 2022 will head into its semi-final playoffs with the Australian Kangaroos to take on the New Zealand Kiwis on Saturday morning at 5:30 a.m. PNG time at Ellen Road Stadium in Leeds. You can catch that match right here on EMTV.
With it, wide.
A spot in the Rugby League World Cup final is up for grabs when the Australian Kangaroos and the New Zealand Kiwis come head-to-head to continue their rivalry come Saturday.
Joey Manu back to Dylan Brown.
The eyes of rugby league fans will be watching, along with the Australian and Kiwi rugby league fans, with some big changes made by the Australian coaching team.
2 Foxes out there.
Mal Meninga has opted to axe Dale Cherry Evans from the team. Instead, Nathan Cleary will call the shots in the halfback position. The Kiwis were not up to their best in their last match against Fiji, just managing to win. They will need to step up in the semi-final to have a chance against Australia. In the 2008 World Cup final at Brisbane, the NZ Kiwis claimed their first World Cup title from the Australian Kangaroos. In 15 World Cup tournaments, the Australian Kangaroos have held a staggering 14-1 advantage, with an average winning margin of a thick under 20 points. Come Saturday, the 12th of November 2022, the Kangaroos will need to defend their title from 2017. With a win to do this, they will need to win to book a spot in the 2022 Rugby League World Cup Grand Final. Lisa Puni, Trukai Sports.
And then in Trukai Sports, the Money Plus weather report is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus, with you always.
Weather report for the next 24 hours. Southern region, showers and cloudy. In Port Moresby, Popondetta, showers and thunderstorms. Momasa region, Ley, showers and thunderstorms. Vanimort, showers and thunderstorms. Linging Island region, Lorengau, showers and thunderstorms. And Boka, rain and thunderstorms. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, rain and thunderstorms, and Wabag, rain and thunderstorms.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by Money Plus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Wednesday, the 9th of November 2022. From all of us here, pleasant viewing and bye for now.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.